What's up, everybody? Unrested back. Hoping everyone had a great holiday and soon to have a happy new year. During this time, we all have a bit of a time off, I think. Maybe you have some vacation. I know I do. And that means you have time to watch movies, right? So today, like I did with Radry when he was here, I thought we'd take some time and review some movies, and I thought I'd even throw in some TV shows too you might be interested in. Afterwards, you can download, rent, or go ahead and find these online. And perhaps you'll enjoy them as much as I did. First up on our list is a movie that became one of Japan's newest international films. Last year it was Koribito. This year it is one called Kokuhaku. And Kokuhaku literally translates to confessions. And this movie, I gotta say, blew me away. I mean, even the production value in Japan, which is nothing compared to what they spend in America or Western films in general, was over the top. I mean, this was really well done. I would say this is a beautifully sociopathic film that delves into some of the darkest psychological places in our mind. And just to give you a brief synopsis, it starts with a teacher at a Japanese high school who has learned that somebody in her homeroom class has killed her daughter. Now, you know this right away, so I'm not giving a spoiler out here, okay? She knows who it is. And slowly, as she begins to tell her story to the class, you start to learn who it was, and it's revealed to you. But it doesn't stop there. Once you find out who the killer is, it gets into how does she get her revenge. And I'm going to stop right there because if I give away any more, I'm going to start spoiling the movie. Watch this movie. Definitely rent it. I know it's been translated into English. I'm pretty sure you can already get it on places like Netflix. Check this one out. You will be very happy. Next on our list is a simple movie. It was just called Toiletto in Japanese, and obviously in English that just translates to toilet. Very simple title because, in a sense, this movie was made very simply. It revolves around a very small family in which there's 3 siblings, the mother and father are gone, they're taking care of themselves, and they have a grandmother who came from Japan to the States who they must now take care of. And it delves into kind of communication barriers that international relationships can get into, and also the dynamics of solving a family problem, but through comedy. There is a little bit dark comedy in it because it deals with some deaths in the family and stuff like that, but for the most part, I'd say in the end it turns out to be quite a positive film. It's a really funny, family-friendly comedy that I think just about anyone can enjoy. So check that one out too. Now, our next movie, I don't want to really say it's the most amazing film you'll ever see, because it's really not. It's nothing that incredible. But for me, the concept and how it became like a meta-reality movie really was something new to me. It was a very refreshing new idea. So, you already saw the title, Shirome, means white eyes. And you probably think this is a really Genki movie happy about a pop group, and it is about a pop group, a J-pop group, and but it gets into a horror movie, like kind of these new, what do you say, found footage horror movie type documentary of how this group became popular. And the strange thing is that this is really a real J-pop group. Clover, their name is Clover, who stars in this movie, are a real J-pop group. They're not like fake and made up just for this movie. They're as real as AKB48 or NMB48. But it gets into about how they sold their souls to a demon to become popular. And then the documentary that went into this. So this would be like, in America, imagine like a really happy, poppy, you know, mainstream star like Britney Spears having a movie about satanic worship that led her to fame, and not trying to deny that it was fake at all. Kind of a weird concept, right? Not the scariest horror movie you'll ever see, or the best movie in general, but definitely a new concept. Next up on our list is probably the darkest movie of 2011, and possibly one of the most deeply disturbing and dark movies you will ever watch, Caterpillar. I gotta say, this is not for people who get easily depressed, because this movie is depressing on an overwrought level. This follows a soldier post-World War II, historically, obviously, following what happened after World War II. But this soldier not only suffers from PTSD, he has had his arms and legs removed from a combat injury, and on top of it, lost his voice as well. So this leaves him with nothing more than a head and a torso in which he crawls around like a caterpillar, hence the name of the movie. Now, as reprehensible as this sounds, the concept and what it dives into, it won quite a few awards internationally, and this is because the way that it was displayed, photographed, and the cinematography in general is really quite well done. The story is quite well done, and if anything, I would say it's an anti-war movie. On top of it, I mean, the exploration of how people are mentally tortured after war, and by tortured I mean by themselves, by their own acts, by the acts of war, by what goes into war and all the horror, it really, really dives into that hardcore. So, I mean, if that's something that's kind of a touchy subject for you, if you're an easily depressed person, perhaps I would not recommend this movie, because it is obscenely dark and dives into by far the darkest human ethos you could possibly imagine. Give it a try though if you're willing. Next, I want to just move on to some quick TV shows that are not all recent shows. Some are within the last 2 or 3 years, but all are recommendations for you to watch. They're out on video. You can get them in a series, a pack, and the series has been completed so that you can watch fully through all of them if you want to watch. Some have also been made into movies, so I thought I'd mention them because of that as well. First off, we're going to start with Shinzawa, which translates about as close as I can to greenhorn, somebody who's starting new at something. This follows Hiroshi Abe's character as a detective, and he does an amazing job. He's one of those actors that you know he's good at playing a badass because he's probably badass in real life. Anyway, Shinzawa follows his cases as he unravels a murder that goes through every single series. So it's one murder, but he discovers just a little bit about it in each series. And within those are subplots of other murders and crimes that have happened that he solves along the way. The story itself is extremely intricate, and Abe just does an awesome job as playing the detective. Now the next two I lumped together for you who are animal lovers out there. The two that I lumped together are, first, one about a dog called Mame Shiba Ichiro, which is a really interesting concept because it's not just a cutesy animal show, it's kind of a comedy, at the same time a drama, that deals with a man who has some social challenges. And although they're undiagnosed and never really brought to the attention of the viewer, it's quite obvious he deals with some of the social problems one might face in Japan. And along the way, he always carries a Mame Shiba, which is a very small dog, you saw the picture, with him at all times, which allows him to use the animal as a vehicle to communicate with other people around him in his environment. This means even though that he is socially afflicted, he has learned over time to use this animal to strike up conversations, talk to people, and pretty much get around in life and find meaning and purpose. And it's kind of like his journey to finding who he is. And this is soon going to be made into a 3D movie, which I thought is a little bit strange because it's not really meant for being 3D, if you know what I mean. It's not really like an action flick or anything like that. It's really more just like a pleasant drama. That this one too is very family friendly. And if you do nothing else, at least go look it up on YouTube and watch the dance for the show. It's absolutely hilarious. The other one is Neko Taxi, and this is very easily translated as cat taxi, obviously. And this too follows another animal that brings a family together. Kind of the same concept in Mameshiba, but with this one it's an entire family who has kind of all split into different paths in life and is no longer talking. On top of that, the father was an ex-school teacher who quit because he became frustrated with the job, became a taxi driver, and now is failing miserably at that until he finds a cat that he starts to bring along in his taxi. And suddenly he becomes a huge earner for his company because of this cat. So it follows his story. If I give any more away, I'm going to start to spoil the series. They made a movie about this one too, so you might want to check that out as well. Okay, finally, the last one that I want to mention before we close this off is Shinya Shokudo, which obviously translates here to Midnight Diner, as I had written below. This is another show that I would say is quite dark. Another one that's also supposedly going to be made into a movie, but every time I look for information on this film being green-lighted, I don't find anything, and I'd really like to see it be made into a movie. It follows a cook at a midnight diner that only opens from midnight till 7 a.m. And this cook is special in the sense that he ran away from the Yakuza, and now he runs a secret restaurant at night. People come into his restaurant, and each customer tells him kind of their own personal story, and he's kind of just there to sit and listen. Each one of these stories is, the best way to put it, sad but gorgeous at the same time, I guess. If there was a way to make sadness beautiful, this would be the series that does the best job with it. Every story, almost every story I'd say, is extremely sad, but very well told and very interesting at the same time. The main actor himself also has a subplot going about his own life that you can also follow through this series as well, and you don't really start to learn about what his situation is until it gets near the end of the series. So let me not say anything more lest I spoil it. Please watch, take a look. I hope you liked everything you heard about here today and are able to find everything. If you can't, maybe you won't be able to find some English subtitles. Remember, it's always a good chance to study Japanese. That's it for today. I'm Unrested. This is JFAQ. I'll see you next time.